we get to know more about ourselves every time we are introduced. Uh, Friends, I know that I'm at a difficult place because I don't come from your fraternity. I don't know anything about manufacturing. I don't come from any economic background also. My background has been engineering and political science and all that. Yet what really encouraged me to join this session was the word thought leaders. So you are thought leaders in the manufacturing sector. So I will probably share some of my thoughts. I come from sort of a political background. I belong to the ruling party, ruling establishment. We have certain vision, we have certain dreams about our country. So I try to place certain ideas before you from that vantage point. You know, when you look at things from your vantage point, they look different. But when we look at those things from our vantage point, we place them in a very different way. So please don't take it, if I say things that may sound like little criticism or anything, don't take it anything offensive and all. It's like a matter of fact sharing of views. We in the government side today, as I said, have big dreams about our country, about our economy. We today dream of India becoming Viksit Bharat by 2047. By Viksit Bharat, there can be any amount of discussion about it, but I don't want to go very deep into it. I know, two sessions always are very difficult. Pre-lunch session and post-lunch session. In pre-lunch, you will be hungry. In post-lunch, you will be sleepy. But I'm in that pre-lunch session, so I will just take 15-20 minutes to share some thoughts, and if the organizers permit, we can have some interaction. But talking about that vision, what is really uppermost in our minds is about the economy. Next 10 to 20 years are very critical for our country in terms of its economy. The reason being, the world is changing very fast. In fact, that could have been a full-length topic for me, but I decided not to talk about it because I have a book authored on the topic, and I understand that that book is going to be probably available for all of you or some of you. It's about the new world, how it is taking shape. That new world is going to be a very difficult place for all of us. The reasons I have enumerated in that. Indians are known to be very romantic people. We have very exaggerated sense of our capacity, our power and all that. But I would like to say that that smugness is not going to help us. Now we have to be very alert. We have to wake up to the new realities, the changing new order, the emerging new order. We have to be very careful about everything or anything that we do. It's not going to be an easy journey from here. It's definitely going to be a big roller coaster kind of journey for all of us. No, see, there used to be a very famous Italian scholar statesman, Antonio Gramsci. Gramsci said something very interesting in 1930s. He said that the old world is dying. At that time also there was a situation where the old order was crumbling. The old world is dying. The new is yet to be born. This interregnum is the time for monsters. No, I'm not calling any particular leader a monster. But you can have your own assumption about who is the monster now, who are the monsters now. But point remains that we are in a very turbulent period. In this turbulent period, we have to, first of all, safeguard our interests. This is going to be the next 10-year journey, because by the time you have a new order in the world, you will face a lot of situations, lots of kinds of challenges. So first of all, we have to manage this situation carefully. At the same time, you have to not lose sight of your greater vision, greater objective of making India a Viksit Bharat 20 years from now. That puts a lot of responsibility, of course, on the government. But I would say it requires whole of the nation approach, not just the government. Government at the center. Of course, Prime Minister Modi, his government will try its best to ensure India is right on the track of the trajectory for development. But I can tell you, it's not going to be enough. It has to be state governments. It has to be corporates. It has to be small industry. It has to be local bodies. It has to be a whole of the nation approach that is needed. So whatever I now say is with that thing in mind, that how do we make this effort a whole of the nation approach, and what all needs to be done, that I would like to place before in 2-3 important points. First and foremost is, remember that we are entering into a very deep tech-driven world. Technology has always progressed in the world. Nobody can say that today technology, we are entering into a technology world. No, we have always upgraded our technological, capabilities. The humanity has always upgraded it. We had some industrial revolution in 1750s. Then industrial revolution 2 happened after 100 years. 3 happened after 100 years when internet was invented. Where we are today is not, after 3, not 4. From 3, we are going to 10. It's a very big transformation that is happening in the name of deep tech, whether it is artificial intelligence or robotics or quantum or genome-related genetics and AI intersection. What is happening in that space is mind-boggling. So that space is what is going to determine where states, countries stand in future. You may have a lot of money. You may be a very rich country. But if you are not strong in your deep tech capabilities, you will be nowhere in the future. So what will determine a country's future is no longer its just basic industrial base, its deep tech capabilities. A recent report came out which said that India, in terms of deep tech preparedness, is in the 3rd position, number 3. First is, of course, the US. Second, you can easily guess who it is, China. And we are in the 3rd position. But remember, these numbers are very deceptive. When somebody says 3rd, we say, oh, okay, good, we are in 3rd position. But the gap. Take for example, 77% is the preparedness of China, of USA in future of AI. Or future of deep tech. 40+% is where China stands. It's 40% prepared for deep tech ventures in future. We are still around 20%. Means most of us are still not working or investing in that area. Our attention, energy is not going into it. That is going to determine where we go in terms of our economy, our industry, our trade, our export, our import. Everything will depend on that. The second important issue is about economy. Today we are, again, talking in macro terms, we are the 4th largest or 5th largest economy in the world with $4 trillion plus GDP. Which, sometimes as politicians, we flaunt it to say that, see how great we have taken this country forward, which of course we have done it. I mean, in the last 10 to 12 years, India's GDP has doubled. From 2 trillion or 1.96 trillion, it has become a $4.3 trillion economy, which is no mean an achievement. It's a very big achievement. But there is a company called NVIDIA in America. Semiconductor chip manufacturing company. NVIDIA's annual turnover is $4.3 trillion. The whole size of our GDP is equal to one company's turnover in USA. And the second largest economy in the world, which is China, is around $18-19 trillion. The gap is 5 times, 4 times. So that's why I said we should not be romantic and smug about what we are achieving. The targets have to be very high. Now, for India, we have set a target. Prime Minister spoke about it from the Red Fort this year on 15th August. He said that India has to achieve $10 trillion economy by 2047. Ideally, much before. I mean, if we can do it by 2035, even better. Today, we are at 4. But do you know, for India to reach from today's level to $10 trillion economy, it has to register a minimum of 8% year-on-year GDP growth for next 20 years. Not missing a single year. 8% growth year-on-year for 20 years, then it will take you to $10 trillion economy. May I humbly tell you, remind to you, probably some of you who probably knew about it, that in the last 70 years or 75 years of our independent journey, only 8 times we crossed 8% GDP growth. Only 8 times out of 75 years. And never successfully for 3 years. At the most successfully twice, 2 years we did twice. This I am saying only to alert you to the challenge. So today the need of the hour is to tighten our belts, economy for next 10 years. If you are looking at your own company, is it growing at 8% rate? Every year on year, is it going 8% rate? That's why I said, this cannot be just Modi ji's agenda. It has to be whole of the nation agenda. Every company has to think in terms of how do I register that kind of growth. And there go to the third point. Only way to do that is not just to look for markets. Of course, you have to look for markets. You have to look for capturing newer markets to sell your products, get good number of customers. But equally important, and especially given the new technological advancements that are happening, is to invest in R&D. Each and every company has to today turn its attention to research and development. As a country, we have to invest heavily on innovation. We have something called Innovate India program, under which we encourage startups in innovation area. We have a million plus startups already registered. But I'm sorry to say that what we call innovation is actually imitation. You have some idea somewhere, you bring it here, maybe use gobar gas to produce it, because we are strong in gobar gas. So you say, this is my innovation. It's not innovation, it's just imitation. Not creativity, you are copying. India needs greater focus on innovation, R&D. The picture is really worrying. We spend in terms of macro figures, I'm again talking. We spend close to 0.6% of our GDP on R&D. As a country, I'm talking about, which amounts to, in our own terms, 1.2 lakh crores or something like that. China spends close to 4.5% of its GDP. US spends almost $1 trillion on R&D. Now, when I say 4.6, around 4% China and we are 0.6%, you think they are only 4-5 times? No, 4% of their GDP versus 0.6% of our GDP. The tragedy in this is, of course, this is not a small amount for India. India's economy is big, so even 0.6%, as I said, is 1.25 lakh crores. It's not a small amount, but 70 to 75% of it is spent by the government. May I ask, why are you not doing it? Why India's companies, corporates, don't spend on innovation and R&D? Globally, this ratio is just the reverse. Globally, in all developed countries, private corporates spend 70% on R&D, government spends 30%. In India, it is reverse. I know companies whose balance sheets are 1.5 lakh crore balance sheet, 40 crores on R&D. Sir, without R&D, forget, you have no future. We have no future as a nation. And if I go to things like, patents, where we apply for some 60,000 to 70,000 patents we apply every year. 16 to 17 lakh patents are applied in America, 40 lakh applied in China, 4 million applied in China. And it is said that even in our patent applications, 70% patents are local patent, domestic patents. Means that product is applicable only, useful only domestically. You can't export it. Now, with that kind of R&D kind of ecosystem, India cannot really achieve what it can achieve. It can achieve, what I am saying is, I mentioned to you that in AI ecosystem, deep tech ecosystem, India is number 3. In that number 3, they had 6 different parameters based on which they defined the level of each country. When it came to India, where India did fairly well was one in terms of government support. That's one parameter in which India did very well. The second parameter is the talent availability. But in all other parameters, like investment, facilities for research, R&D, we are nowhere. Meaning you have talent, you have the intent of the government, but the rest of the institutional mechanism is not working. Our universities are not working. Our corporates are not doing enough. Private investment doesn't happen in R&D. So friends, this is the area where we have to really focus much more, and we need to probably invest much more in this area. Look, when you talk about economic development, there will be certain periods, certain opportunities that you have to seize. If you miss that opportunity, you miss the bus for good. Take the case of China. You know, all of you know that in 1980, China and India had almost the same level of GDP. We both were around $1 trillion size of GDP in 1980. Less than that a little bit. China's whole story of transformation was only less than 20 years, less than 2 decades. Between 1980 and 1997 when Deng Xiaoping died, or 98, when China formally applied to enter the WTO. What happened in those 17, 18 years was brutal pragmatism. Deng Xiaoping was China's supreme leader at that time. China was a communist government then also. And it had that Mao era hangover still. Mao was a hardcore communist. Destroyed the economy, destroyed industry in the name of cultural revolution, this, that, and all. But what Deng did was something amazing. Deng said, next 10 to 15 years, just focus on economy. Just grow. Keep everything aside. Growth, growth, growth. And he decides to bring investment into China from Europe. Communist Party leadership objects. He says, we are communists. How can you bring investment from capitalist countries? Then Deng gives that famous statement, which I think some of you would have heard, that famous statement of Deng Xiaoping. He says, I don't care about the color of the cat as long as it is catching the mice. जब तक चूहे को पकड़ रहा है, तो बिल्ली की रंग से मुझे क्या करना है? Then they say, no, but it's not like that. If you allow capitalist countries, they come, they will build you airports, they will build you ports, they will build you industry. But they will capture the country. He says, no, don't worry. Whenever I don't want them, I will kick them out. They have to leave my country. They can't take these airports and ports with them. They are mine. This is brutal pragmatism. You have to keep ideology in the back burner. You have to keep other things in the back seat. You have to focus on growth, development, and that is what Prime Minister is trying to do. You have seen day before yesterday, he met 3 major AI investors. Each one of them committed some investment in India. So, Government of India is focusing. Is Maharashtra government also focusing in the same way? Is Mumbai Corporation is also focusing in the same way? Are the corporates doing the same thing? When I say corporates, there are many who are doing good work. But I can say many who are not doing enough. So our future depends on how we focus for next 10 to 15 years as whole of nation outlook on economy, technology, and development. That will determine India's future. So friends, I think I will probably stop here because it's already 1:05. Just to leave a thought to you, sometimes, as I said, Indians have exaggerated sense of their capability. Of course, we are a very blessed people, no doubt. भगवान ने अपनी कृपा हमारे ऊपर रखी है. But remember, every nation has its own strengths, but its own limitations also. So it's one thing to think that we can do everything under the sun. But it's quite another thing to decide which are the areas where I can do very well. Initially, I talked about China for 20 years. 20 years, it only focused on manufacturing. A friend was telling me, you see, today, what is the problem? China manufactures, excessive manufacturing they do. No, that was the story 20 years ago. Today, China decided that my priority is different now. Now, I have done manufacturing, excessive manufacturing in 1980s and 90s, and I captured the market. Today we are trying to enter into European market. I'm sure you also must be looking forward to that free trade agreement that Government of India is negotiating with the EU. It will benefit many of your companies. But do you know that even already in European Union markets, 56% of the market is already captured by China. What is available, if tomorrow free trade agreement happens, what is available for all of you is only 46%. In that 46%, there are already domestic competitors. Rest you have to scramble, whatever you get it. What I'm saying is, they were early entrants there. They planned it in such a way. But today, when they realized that no, that mass manufacturing phase is over now. Now I have to go for deep tech manufacturing. Because they have this demography problem also. Youngsters are not there. Median age in China is 39. It is 28 in our country. So they are finding it difficult to find younger people for deep tech jobs. So they are deploying machines. Their priority today is AI. Their priority today is deep tech. That is why they are just behind US in deep tech. We have to be careful about our strengths. Our strengths lie in certain areas. Services is our great strength. We really have to go surge ahead in that area. AI offers a big opportunity, and as I said, we have the talent pool, we have the government support. We have to progress. We are doing, but much more needs to be done. For example, semiconductors and those areas we have to do much more. But there are other areas. For example, agriculture sector. Many people dismiss it as an unimportant sector. But agriculture sector is so important that the major part of the Israelis' economy is dependent on agriculture technologies. Such a big country, India, we import agriculture technologies from Israel. And Israel has very small agriculture land. We have not invested enough in agricultural technologies area. Tourism. People think tourism यानी तो मस्ती करने वाला. No, tourism is a big. Countries run on tourism. Switzerland runs on only 2 things: tourism and banking. They don't worry about what is manufacturing and what is IT and all that. They know that these are their 2 strengths: banking sector and tourism sector. But tourism is a big industry. Tourism infrastructure is huge industry. Where is that infrastructure focus in India? Show me one good tourist destination in India. Forget about infrastructure. Do we have good training facility for tourism guides in our country? We don't have trained guides. Millions can get jobs because India is a major destination for tourism, but we are not turning our attention to our strengths. So I'm giving you a very broad and very vivid picture of it, but all that I'm trying to say is that we have to turn our attention to these issues. Again, I'm sorry for being repetitive on this. It has to be a whole of the nation approach. In that, you are very important, you are very integral. Without industry, corporates coming forward in these areas, India's great dream of becoming Vikasit Bharat is just not possible. So I end by appealing to all of you, if Prime Minister says 8% growth, it has to be that every industry should grow at 8%. If he says technology, every industry should adopt technology. So that is how we have to look at it so that we can achieve that great dream. I will close here. If time permits, we can have some interaction. Thank you so much.
We can most certainly have interaction, sir. Anybody with your questions, please put up your hand. We will send the mic to you. Straight away, here is a question.
Sir, thank you for giving, whatever government policies and what are the platforms available so that corporate and companies can interact. And it should be a very open platform. Whatever expectations are there from the government, the same should be, the platform should be available for the same.
So government has created several platforms in deep tech especially. Like, we have AI mission, we have quantum mission, now we have Anusandhan R&D mission, which has 1 lakh crore at its disposal. What is happening is, one is, of course, companies have to have those R&D departments to access that fund. This money is available for you to do good R&D. Academic institutions try to access that fund. But again, don't take it as criticism. Matter of fact, I'm stating, some department in some university comes forward with a proposal. Give me 20 crores, I want to do research on this. Then that mission's mandate is, you have to tell me after 3 years what is the product that you are going to give to me. But largely academics think that they only are mandated to do research, not to do product. Now, that whole idea that productization should be the end of your research is not there in our system now. So that is where industry, academia interaction is very critical. I mean, you have to now engage an academic institution. Together, you have to decide about the product, then access funds. Funds are available. But I can tell you, in spite of having funds there, we are unable to spend them. Because as I said, guy comes and says, give me this many crores. And the officer asks, what is the product you are going to do? He says, no, you can't ask me for product. I will do research and give you a good paper. We need to focus on productization. Then we have a lot of support available from the government. But again, I'm saying, don't only look for the government support. In West, in Europe and other countries, many corporates, including corporates like Microsoft and Apple and all, spend anything between 5 to 10% of, not their profits, 5 to 10% of their turnover on R&D. Please check your books. How much we are spending on R&D in our companies. Forget about 5 to 10% of turnover. 5 to 10% of profits is going into R&D. So something we have to do internally. Government is also willing to support to the extent possible. Thank you.
Sir, good afternoon. This is Sai Baba from Suzlon. First of all, we are lucky to have you here, sir. We know you. Now, my question is that you are asking that corporates should invest some of their profit or total turnover into the R&D. Do you, this government can put a legal strategy or something to all the corporates that you should give? Any policy can be introduced? Is it possible in any government so that they will bind to that, and that percentage based on the medium scale, large scale, etc., etc., it can be possible for any government to introduce a policy?
See, one suggestion came that, this stipulation about CSR, that can be extended to R&D. I mean, companies should be allowed to spend their CSR component on R&D. It's only a suggestion that has come from the industry. There is no decision taken at the government level, as far as you know. I'm not obviously a part of the government per se. Yeah, I agree with you. Probably at some point, something like that has to be thought of, insisting. I told you, I know of a corporate whose annual turnover balance sheet says 1.5 lakh crore is the turnover. 44 crores is on R&D. That has to change definitely. Whether we should do it through a law or probably we should have more of internal thinking, like you are a thought leader, probably corporates have to have internal thinking also, which is the best way, is something we have to think. Because on a lighter note, every law has an in-law. You can make a law, but somebody will find a way to bypass that law. I'm not saying you are all law breakers. I'm not saying that. But something has to happen internally also. But yes, it's a suggestion that is there. Thank you.
Could we bring the mic here? Thank you.
So, sir, good morning, and thank you for giving us the feedback from the government side. My question is very at a basic level. Like, in every factory, we need people, skilled people. I'm talking at the ITI level. The kind of people we receive from the ITI, the skill is almost not there. It's like we have to start teaching, coaching to the people like how to walk, how to talk from that level. And it's not like there is no good institution. There are institutions. Government is spending money. Can something be done here where whatever spends are happening, or maybe whatever government is spending on ITIs, on the instructor, they should be made accountable for some deliverables to the people, so that at least some basic level things are ready, which are very much available in other countries.
Totally agree with you. The educational standards of our institutions call for great upgradation, no doubt about it. There again, I say that we need greater involvement of the industry and corporates. As an example, I can tell you the Tatas. I'm taking up name because there is an example in front of us. That's what I'm taking. They approached the state government, one of the North Indian states. They proposed that they will take over some 200 or 250 ITIs and introduce new courses and train the students as per the industry requirements. They tried it. So more corporates can do that. I mean, how to enhance the quality of our institutions, especially ITIs, polytechnics, even our engineering colleges. There, it has to be industry, academic, some kind of an engagement, interaction is necessary. Left to government alone, these are all largely state governments controlled institutions, especially ITIs and polytechnics are largely controlled by state governments. There, the ability to bring in new things, new technologies will be obviously limited. So there needs to be some industry intervention also in that. What kind of an employee you need, can you train the employee right at the institution level itself? Otherwise, I totally agree with you. I mean, in fact, some friends, some senior colleagues from industry tell me that when they announce the job, they get 500 applications, for example. Out of 500, 50 qualify, 5 are really qualified. That's the kind of ratio we have. So it's a worry, undoubtedly. But there also, again, we have to have some kind of an industry and academic institutions engagement that's necessary. I know about states like Uttar Pradesh, they are very keen on such kind of an engagement. If you come forward to do something about enhancing the quality of education, they will be happy to join hands with you.
Yeah, hi. So this is Vamshi again. So my founders are from ex-NVIDIA, so I thought it would be good to put some food for thought here. Right, see, if I go back in time and see, right, if we talk about the manufacturing, since the audience here are from the manufacturing sector, the initial first generation companies, which are now called as the giants in the manufacturing, are in some form being supported by the government, and one single leaders who thought, okay, my country should have own system to build cars, or my own country should have a workforce to give employment for the next 25, 30 years and things like that. Now these giants have become a big corporations, and then you're now seeing, like my company founder, who have served in these blue chip companies for years. Not just my own company, you could see this in the market today, that people who worked at Apple or Google or Microsoft, Indians have all come out and coming up with a lot of innovative, digital transformative companies, trying to solve Indian problems, sticking to the Indian market to give back. Right? I think that is also one ecosystem that the giants today should focus on, outside of the government initiative and things like that. I think that would also
Absolutely.
help.
Absolutely,
Do you
no
have a
doubt about
question
it.
somewhere there?
Pardon?
Do you have a question somewhere there?
No, I didn't say question. I said
Observation.
I've earned a food for thought here.
Okay,
Yes.
let's keep it to the questions here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
This is the Q&A.
Good morning.
Thank you.
I am Jayant Panirai. Actually, we are from manufacturing industry. We listened to you, and really we are blessed to have your presence here. So now my question is not in manufacturing direction. What government is actually doing to manufacture qualitative politicians?
You know, Vajpayee ji, grand old man of Indian politics, used to jocularly say, politics and discipline do not go together. Politics and quality. But politicians are the product of the society. They are not coming from somewhere else. Like, it's we who choose politicians. If you think that a given politician is not of the required quality, change him. That's the only way we can have good politicians. Having said it, if by quality you mean educational standards or understanding of not only country. Today the politicians need understanding of the whole world, because everything is global today. There is nothing called country, nothing called local. So we need greater understanding, greater maturity. So parties have to invest in that. Parties have to train their people. Parties have to pick up such youngsters to come forward. But I can tell you, the current Lok Sabha, if I go by elected representatives, current Lok Sabha has definitely better number of well-educated people, higher percentage of women, greater percentage of different cross-sections of the society. It's well represented in terms of country's diversity and in terms of basic qualifications and understanding also. The current Lok Sabha fares better than the previous one. There's an incremental development that is happening. But still, politics is politics. Sometimes, different types of leaders come and we have to deal with them. That's why good thing is, to make things lighter, I tell you. One day, one guy goes up to Xi Jinping and tells him that why not we have democracy in China. So Xi Jinping asks him, yes, but what kind of a democracy? The US-style democracy, where the guy who gets highest number of votes doesn't become the president. In US system, they have a collegiate system. So you may have, like Hillary Clinton had 7 million more votes than Trump, but Trump became the president. He says, is that the kind of democracy you want? Or, democracy, the kind in UK, where the majority party, the party which has highest number of votes or highest number of seats, need not necessarily become the ruling party because all others will gang up and they form their government. That kind of democracy you want? What kind of democracy you want? This guy coolly says, sir, any kind of democracy is okay, because at least after 5 years I can change you. So if you are not happy with a given politician, change him. There is no other way to get good people in politics. Sir. Thank you.
Namaste ji, and thank you for joining us today. I think your lecture has been very inspirational. So I just want to touch upon a point that was made here, and also one of the points that you made, that this is especially a very turbulent time for India. And if you look, the examples that you cited about China and the US and their, at least China's rise in over 20 years, a lot of it was intertwined with their foreign policy. So the point I'm trying to make is that given that this is especially turbulent for our foreign policy, and somebody here mentioned about the Indian diaspora wanting to give back, I'm not sure I agreed, because I don't think anyone from our diaspora whom we proudly own has really raised their voice against, say, the tariffs that America has put on us. So how important is foreign policy for us to be able to rise at or grow at 8 to 8.5% to hit our Viksit Bharat targets?
So one of the challenges is not just about foreign policy. The dynamics in the world today, in this uncertain period, countries are turning inwards everywhere. So you know that how America behaved with us directly, because Trump is well known to be very outspoken. But Mexico did the same thing 2 days ago. Mexico announced 25% tariff on our rice imports. So every country is turning inwards because everybody sees uncertainty in the world. Now here, we have to now learn that, 10 years from now or 5 years from now, you may have embargoes. I don't want to name, but I can tell you, today, in the EV industry, electric vehicle industry, 100% imports of EV cells. 100%. 70% import of EV panels. Now tomorrow there is an embargo. What will happen to this industry? How much are we investing in making our own EV cells or our own indigenous EV components, including semiconductor chips and all that? We are trying to promote semiconductor industry big time. We have some fabrication labs also coming up slowly. Here and there, they are coming up. But we are nowhere near the kind of chips that are required. Our current capability is to manufacture 30 nanometer chips. Whereas China manufactures 6 nanometer, 4 nanometer. NVIDIA is working on 2 nanometer chip. We're far behind. So we need to now seriously think about enhancing domestic capability. And India's domestic market is so huge. Why today country after country is running after us is because of the size of our domestic market. And this domestic market, as the economy is growing, and this economy is growing very democratically, by the way, please keep in mind. Some people may think that economies can grow in different ways. If the top 10 oligarchs double their, their company's turnover, then GDP will grow. But we are not growing that way. We are growing from the grassroots. That's the greatest contribution of Modi government. The growth is happening right in a very organic way. And that is the reason why you have huge dispensable incomes in our country. Do you know how much tourism is growing in India? One estimate is 30 million people are traveling abroad every year. 3 crore Bharat ke log videshon mein ghum rahe. That is why one small disruption, not small disruption, big disruption in Indigo, how much havoc it created. किसी का शादी रुक गई क्योंकि वो बेचारा उसको फ्लाइट में जाना था शादी करने, फ्लाइट कैंसिल हो गई. तो India's today's domestic economy is also a big opportunity. But is our manufacturing industry prepared to capture that industry? Do you know, even today, we are still 15-17% only in our GDP. It has to be, Nirmala ji said you have to become 23 to 25%. She actually said by 2030, manufacturing industry will become 25-30%. Can it become 40%, 45%? so that other components can become less I mean, they are important, but smaller part of it, like agriculture can become smaller. So we need to now actually look at our own, our own markets. How do we capture those markets? Even today, our markets are largely captured by foreign manufacturers, international manufacturers. We need not be against them. They are also good. They come out with quality products. But how do we capture our markets? How do we produce that kind of a production, that kind of a thing? That is where I think we have to do much more, because unless India's manufacturing industry grows at least by another 10 percentage points, we can't give jobs to people here. India, हम बहुत boast करते हैं ना, India is a young country. Youth dividend is only when we are able to provide them jobs. If you can't provide jobs to the youth, it's not dividend, it's burden. Who will provide jobs? Majorly, manufacturing industry is one area where we can expect good number of jobs to be created. The other area is, of course, services industry, but India's services industry has largely saturated now. Little bit growth will happen, but not too much. It has to happen in manufacturing sector. There, defense, some effort is happening. Defense manufacturing is huge opportunity. It has to grow because it has the potential to create more jobs. But FMCG sector, there the jobs can be created. Small, micro, medium industry, it has to grow in India. Their investments have to happen. So we have to look at domestic market, because until the world settles down, it may take 15 years, I can tell you. It's not going to settle down so soon. Until then, it will be monsters all over the world. Countries will return. Countries will start imposing embargoes. They won't give you technologies. They will stop giving you technologies. So don't be complacent that, okay, we can depend on so-and-so country for... No. In fact, yesterday we had a very important session on critical minerals. We are nowhere in that sector. Prime Minister is pushing very hard that we should become a little self-reliant in that sector. Even copper, we have to import from everywhere. We have huge mining giants in India, but they don't invest on R&D. As a result, even in our existing mining, the byproducts can become critical minerals. Some of the waste products, some of the products. But we can't process them because we are not investing in processing technologies. Even tomorrow, assuming I extract some kind of a critical mineral raw material, I can't process it. So for processing, मुझे इसको फिर से China भेजना है, because 70% of the processing market, processing technology is in China's hands. So I'm saying we need to look at these areas, and this is a huge opportunity for India's industry. And manufacturing industry is key here. So to your question, yes, there will be challenges. Foreign policy is one issue, but globally the uncertainty is forcing countries to turn inwards. To your specific question, why Indians have not raised their voice against their own government, they are all local investors. They are all businessmen there. Majority of them have become green card holders. They have become citizens there. Some of them are trying, of course. Many of them are trying also to talk to the representatives and all. But bigger issue is, can we become more self-reliant? That's the only way forward. Let me just conclude. Probably we can close it. Lunchtime it is. To that point about availability of talent outside, Indian talent outside. Yes, we have to tap into the talent. I mean, you have to give opportunity to them to come. There are many Indians who are willing to come back, but can our industry take them? Can our academy take them? China has something called 1,000 Talents Program. I'm sorry, I'm giving you examples because that they have set certain benchmarks, which you can't ignore. The 1,000 Talents Program is that if you have a good, capable Chinese citizen anywhere in the world, China has an open offer. Come to China, spend 6 to 8 months, or if you can spend 1 year or 2 years, come and spend. Share your talent with our institutions or our industry. The two guarantees that China gives under the 1,000 Talents Program is, one, your salary is secure. Like suppose you are getting $20,000 in US. After coming to China, you don't have to take China ka jo university professor ka salary, you don't have to take. You will still get $20,000 in China also. Second is, you don't have to give up your citizenship. You can still be the citizen of Holland or wherever you are. Still, you come, spend 1 year with me, share your talent with me. We are trying something like that in our system also, but can our industry afford it? Like, you have a very good chemical engineer who can give you real solutions to some of your, our pharmaceutical industry depends on China big time. He can give solutions. Can you afford him? Are you ready to share that burden? So some of those things are necessary so that we can bring the talent. Huge talent is available. We should use it, how China used it, and ramp up. That's why I'm again coming back to that. It has to be our own effort also, not just the government's effort alone. Friends, thank you so much. I'm sorry I ate into your eating time, but it's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.